House lawmakers are back on Capitol Hill today following the Thanksgiving break, and Senate Democrats have elected their new leadership team for the next session of Congress, which begins on January 3rd. Meanwhile, President-elect Trump's pick for Homeland Security Secretary is also on the Hill today. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is looking to shore up additional support from Senate Republicans. She's holding several meetings where she's expected to discuss her vision for the department if she's confirmed. Trump's pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is also back on Capitol Hill for more meetings with Senate Republicans today. CBS News has confirmed Hegseth was previously forced to step down from a veterans nonprofit group. That was first reported by The New Yorker in a report that accused the Fox News host of financial mismanagement, sexual impropriety, and being intoxicated on the job. Despite the controversy, Hegseth is pressing forward with his efforts to win support.
We're going to meet with every senator that wants to meet with us across the board, and we welcome their advice as we go through the advice in council.
CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion joins us now from Capitol Hill. Nikole, so far Hegseth is meeting with Trump hardline supporters. What's the strategy here? Isn't it more important for him to sway senators who may be on the fence?
Well, keep in mind, I mean, this is now his third trip here to Capitol Hill. So typically with any of these nominees or designees, their plan is to meet with as many senators as they can. So I wouldn't read too much into who he's meeting with and who he is not, because we know, for instance, before the Thanksgiving Day recess, of course, he met with Senate Republican leadership, people like Senator John Barrasso, who heads the Senate GOP conference. Of course, this week he's been more focused on some members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, so he is making the rounds to the best of his ability. But look, you know, this is really about trying to shore up support. I just asked both Pete Hegseth and those accompanying him whether or not they believe that he has the votes now that he has met with roughly at least a dozen senators or so at this juncture. And so they are still feeling relatively confident about their posture in light of all of these allegations. But, you know, Pete Hegseth continues to say, you know, he's kind of meeting with people one by one to try to win their support.
You mentioned that you had caught up with Pete Hegseth again today regarding that reporting. What did he say?
Well, we tried to ask him about a number of things, you know, obviously in terms of the newest allegations that have surfaced this week through The New Yorker and other outlets, including CBS News, is that he resigned from a veterans nonprofit group a few years back out of concerns that were expressed by some within that organization about potential financial mismanagement, sexual misconduct. So we have tried to ask Pete Hegseth many times about many of those allegations, including the circumstances surrounding his resignation, but he has continued to decline comment on that front. There is also this letter that his mother allegedly wrote to him, an email where she accused him of mistreating women and abusing women and telling him that he needs to get help. So I did ask him specifically about that email message. Again, he did not respond, but when I asked him to talk about the relationship that he has with his mother, he said that he loves her very much.
Nikole, there are several key decisions that need to be made on Capitol Hill in the upcoming weeks. Something comes to mind, a possible government shutdown toward the end of the month. What is the latest with that?
Well, obviously, government funding runs out December 20th. That is the extent of the latest short-term funding agreement. And so that is top of mind, certainly, as the House returns here today. Of course, the Senate was back just yesterday, but lawmakers are very keenly aware that they don't have much time to reach a deal. You know, really, the devil will continue to be in the details. There are those who believe that there should be kind of more of a longer-term funding fix, and that really has been the goal throughout this whole process of government funding and the various iterations that we have covered it. You know, those who want to see the appropriations process work with regular order so that the government can be fully funded through the fiscal year. But then there are others, and Speaker Johnson has kind of alluded to this, of maybe doing more of a short-term patch, particularly with the new incoming administration coming in, so that the president-elect can have a greater say kind of in what he wants to do with respect to government funding going forward. So again, it certainly is a priority among lawmakers. I don't know that there's a whole lot of talk about shutting down the government at this point, but certainly people are well aware of the deadline here on Capitol Hill.
All right, Nikole Killion, thank you.
You bet.